It's that time. We should get started. Joseph, how about you leave us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did I see Bob here? Can I ask Bob to? Can I ask Bob
Sorry,
to?
Bob, I'm not quite wide enough to help.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as you knit us together with Rotarians from all over the world with a passion to be caring, with a heart that you would have remain open, grant us your blessings this night. At the table that we sit, the food we eat, and the friendships that we engender. We ask it all in your name. Amen.
And as Rotarians do, four-way test. Is it the truth? Say and do. Build better friendships. Be beneficial to all concerned. All right. Thank you very much. You can, everyone be seated. So welcome to Rotarians. We're being filmed again tonight by Scituate Cable TV, so I'll probably try to give a little bit of background on a couple of things here that we want to go through and go over. First and foremost, I just want to make sure everyone knows that our secretary Lois fell and broke her ankle. So if you didn't get an email, I think earlier today, Lois has hurt herself and is, so I wanted to make sure everyone knows about that.
So that begs the question, if we didn't get an email, we're not on the list, so whoever sent the email needs to update their list.
Okay.
So update it, the secretary doesn't use the list.
Oh, she's the one who sent it out?
Yeah, so I want to make sure everybody knows about that. I'm going to pass along some things that I've been saving for a week or two, and just pass it around from the table. One is we were recently mentioned in the Scituate Mariner for the South Shore Arts exhibition that we had just had a presentation on, and also coincidentally, right next to that article was a picture of Joan Powers being honored for Daughters of American Revolution. And I'm not sure if anybody saw this last week, and I was just kidding Dennis about this a few minutes ago. We had a nice little pickup about tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, they may have gotten, they got the names wrong, but.
Harry's my first.
Well, okay, so they did get it right, but.
That is my first.
I didn't know you were this Harry, so.
No, it's not incorrect at all.
Yeah, okay, then, it was correct, okay, good, good.
As I mentioned earlier, I called Barbara Stinson my first and my middle name, so it's.
I'm also gonna, there was an article in the Mariner a few weeks ago that I'm gonna just read here. It was basically a thank you for, well, on behalf of the Marshfield Special Education Parent Advisory Council, we would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation for the generous donation awarded to our organization by the Rotary Club of Scituate. We were so delighted to welcome Lucille Sorrentino, who presented us with a check for $500 at our meeting on Wednesday, October 23rd. The money will help us greatly in our mission to create a supportive community for students with special needs. This gift will support families through educational presentations and other events, such as our upcoming Disability Awareness event, the Wonder Fair, which is scheduled for January 31st next year. We hope this event will broaden the understanding, acceptance, and inclusion of all children and adults with disabilities. We thank the Rotary Club of Scituate for the chance to work with them and for their very kind support. From Susan Moisey and Michelle Brait and Chris Evitz of the Marshfield Board of Special Education. So I thought that was nice, and I'm not sure if anybody saw that, so I can pass that along too. So tonight, just to review, for everyone who doesn't know, this will be our last meeting here between now and the first of the year. So next week is Thanksgiving. We do not have a meeting. The week after is Cushing School, and maybe, so I'm on Cushing School, maybe we can have Sandy address that in one sec after schedules. The weekend after that is our Christmas party at Janice Brown's, and the week after that is really another Christmas party at Lucille's. And then it's Christmas week, and then we're into January. So this will be our last meeting here for the better part of a month. So just mark calendars or check website for events and dates, et cetera, et cetera. So while I touched on that, and because it's coming up pretty quick, maybe Sandy, you could let us know what's going on with Cardinal Cushing?
I sure could. Glad to. Everybody, that it will be on the 4th, which is Wednesday, which is going to be the week after Thanksgiving. We don't meet this next Wednesday, so you won't see me again. So tonight, before you leave, I will give everybody a sheet. So we've signed up for a student. There was 25 students. So I usually work out
Good.
pretty well. Some people make donations if they can't be there. We should be able to have everybody have a student, sit with a student. And just see me after, it's less confusing. The one thing I ask of you, the students come at 6. Please come at 5:45.
5:30 even, but people come in
It's so
after they're there
confusing.
all the time.
And
All
then
kinds of-
if the students don't have their sponsor, they can't sit down, and it's chaos. So maybe we should say 5:30, and then that gets everybody here by 47. Please come at 5:30. I'll have name tags for the adults. Cushing School said they have name tags for the students. So when you get there at 5:30, you might find where you'd like to sit, and then save a seat for your student. That way, when the students come in, you just say, come here, this is where we'll sit, instead of finding a seat. And Santa Claus is all set?
Would you like these things, or?
No, you'll never see them again.
I have the paper name tags. stickers.
Oh, right, that would put out the door. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so I have those. Mike Turner's coming to do our DJ. Dinners should be between 18 and 20, she didn't say, but it's, either way, it's a bargain. And we're all contracted, we've got everything in place, except for us to be there.
Awesome. So you're going to
So
forward that?
I'm
or-
going to give everybody a list.
Okay.
I'm going to hand it physically tonight. And
Okay.
those that don't sign up for me, I will be asking personally, I'll call people to make sure I complete all this. I usually get this done the week before.
You're not passing out more than one list.
I'm going to have everybody sign up. I have a master who's making me take this, so I know who they have.
I'm going to pass that around the table, because you have 2 lists on, people are going to double up. You're not
Right.
gonna know it. You need 1 list.
Well, they can sign up. I can pass her and can look at it.
Okay.
That would be good. It takes a while. I'll pass on.
So,
Go ahead and put your name on it.
right, so anybody who wants to attend can sign up and be assigned a student. And if anybody wants to sponsor a student and they can't attend, we'll, I'm sure, be able to make sure that the student gets their present from Santa even though you can't attend, so. It's always a nice affair over at the Barker, so that's December 4th at 5:30, 5:45, try to arrive. I want to sort of report out on our Christmas Giving Tree campaign, but Bob, I also want to have you sort of close up with Von Trapp in a sec, okay? So some of us met and have met for the last couple weekends at Candace's house just to try to make sure we're all ready to jumpstart our Christmas Giving Tree campaign, which, for those in the audience who maybe don't know, we We partner with retailers generally in the harbor and who are able to help us sell trees, paper trees, which they then decorate near their cash register or their windows or walls. We certainly work quite a lot with Village Market and Shaw's, and we're also going to be in Marshfield at Roach and Star. So I just want to pass around a couple of things and/or confirm that everybody's got the materials that they need. But first, I'll report out that for any of those of you that are terribly competitive, Interact is starting tomorrow with the Christmas trees. So they're beating us to the punch. Interact will be tomorrow is parent-teacher conferences at the high school, and so the Interact Club will be soliciting and selling Christmas trees to parents tomorrow. So they're ready to go. They've got materials. They're going to try to start decorating the high school tomorrow, or selling trees. We have a press release out to the Mariner. I think everyone's got boxes, but I'm not dead sure if everybody's got boxes of materials. So I want to just maybe walk through this real quick. Walter, you've got materials for Beijing and Cosmos and Jamie's Pub.
All the bars.
Yeah. Joe, were you going to possibly approach Maria's again this year?
Yeah, oh, sure.
Okay. So I've got to get you, I think you don't have materials then, right?
No.
Okay.
We don't have posters yet.
They're coming, I think.
Okay.
Bob, you're going to check in with Mill Wharf. William, we're going to check in with PJ's. I've got Reynolds Package Store. Bob, Rocco's Barbershop? Yes, no?
Yeah, I need a box.
Okay. Okay. Lucille was going to go to Scituate Pharmacy. Jones, Scituate Senior Center. I'm going to swing into Native right down in the harbor. And Bart, you were going to go to Harborside Liquor.
Yes.
Okay. So those are potentially retailers where trees will be sold. We are also going out with some direct mail solicitation, direct mail donor campaign to try to get to some businesses that don't really have a retail operation or aren't really set up to be able to handle posting trees. So we will be going out or we've already gone out with some, and there are some things that are already in the system because I've mailed some things. And Bernie, you were going to maybe check in on a couple of accounts that we gave you some information for on Saturday, right?
I've already dropped off Scituate Federal last Saturday,
Super.
and I'll...
So among others, we were going to try to touch Caldwell Banker, Hingham Credit Union, Hingham Savings, Rockland Trust, Scituate Tavern, Scituate Federal, South Coastal Bank, O'Donohue Insurance, CVS Pharmacy, and Dunkin' Donuts. So those are sort of some of the corporate that we were sending out with a direct mail campaign and all the boxes. The big effort, or seemingly the big effort, is for us to staff the grocery stores and be able to mount giving trees at various stores, both in Marshfield and in Scituate. So we've started a list. Candace sent this to me, and I'm hoping most of it is correct, but between the two of us, I'm not dead sure. So I'd like to pass this along for additional signups and/or confirm that we got your name in the right slot for the right day, for the right store that you marked down for, okay? So this is both Scituate and Marshfield, Star Market and Roach. Marshfield, we're really only doing Roach one day, and we're really only doing Marshfield 2 weekends. So we are going to try and jumpstart Scituate on the Saturday and the Sunday right after Thanksgiving. So if anybody, I think Dietrich is maybe going to try and get us jump-started there. If we can get anybody who's available and maybe isn't traveling for Thanksgiving to be able to help on the day after, or the Saturday and the Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend to help with the giving trees in various locations. That'd be wonderful. And Bernie just handed me some posters, I'm assuming maybe from Joan? So,
We did not get the big ones we talked about, because those were $18 a pop.
okay, okay. So we have some posters for people to potentially mount or tape, and maybe I'll leave them over. So it says, buy a giving tree, 100% of the proceeds stay local to the 4 groups that we defined: Scituate Special Needs, Scituate High School Scholarships, Scituate Seniors, and Scituate Veterans Assistance. So I'm going to put these maybe over here. Anybody who wants to grab one, I would say if you know of a location that would put it in a window, and or if you feel like it would be helpful to have that kind of a poster with the box that at whatever retailer you're going to, that's a good combination. That lets people know who's doing what and what it's for and what these trees are. So,
The smaller ones too?
okay, good. Oh, I'm sorry. We have 2 sizes, so didn't even get that. So here's some smaller ones, which almost always is a help to put in the store window or put in a window to let people know what's going on, and maybe it's a good place. I've gone around and put them in windows that don't have any kind of a retail operation for us, but it just gives people in town another set of eyes on another poster that says, oh, okay, this is what the Rotary's doing, and this is what these trees are all about. So if anybody needs materials, you can see me. As I said, we've got Interact starting tomorrow. We've got press release, direct mail, boxes are already out to people, and we've got posters to get going. So, try and stop by your retailers and get them started. So with that, maybe I'll ask Bob. I want to make a note on the concert, and if anybody didn't get that email, also, there was a date change, right? So.
We have bond printings turned around in 2 days, and printed out tickets. And they are numbered. Every church in town is going to get 100 tickets in an envelope marked for them. And I printed 1,000, so I'm giving 100 to each church. So we will know when we take the tickets in at the door, we'll know exactly what church
You
sold
don't
it.
have 1,000 seats. How can you have 1,000 tickets?
You have to get enough people. Don't, yeah, we won't. If we would sell 600, what a blessing. So
For the sake of the video, maybe you should
Right.
explain a little bit about the contract.
yeah. So on Saturday, January 4th,
Right.
At 7 p.m., Elizabeth Von Trapp, who is the granddaughter of Georg and Maria, who has been singing for 40 years, will be here, and she will be at St. Mary's, where she has done 3 concerts in the past, but none in the last 4 years. And she has gotten better even since the last concert. She plays with a 6-string acoustical, a 12-string acoustical, and now she's got a new Fender guitar that sounds like a harp. Beautiful. So she will be singing. Bill Richter and the Scituate Select Chorus will be singing during the end of the program with her. And the cost of the concert has been underwritten so that every bit of the $20 ticket is a donation to the food pantry. So we're hoping if we could get 400 people there, 600 people, that would be fantastic. And it would give the food pantry a shot in the arm that it needs during the coldest months of the winter.
Where is the concert?
And St. Mary of the Nativity, that's where she's done all of her concerts in the past, and the acoustics are fantastic. And it'll be a combination Christmas, because it's still, it's the 10th day of Christmas. So it'll be Christmas music and winter music. $20 the tickets for adults, 12 and under, $10.
Saturday, January 4th, and time again?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, okay.
And
Buy tickets, that's what.
through their churches, we'll have, we can decide what we want to do. I've made a couple of suggestions, but I don't think we'll put those on,
Yep.
on the air.
Yep. Very good. Maureen has said we're all ready to go, so why don't we take a moment here to break for dinner, and usually we have our guests lead us, so why don't some of our guests lead us, and we'll break for dinner. Effort. One of the things we talked about at our meeting on Saturday was if there might be other time slots that might be more accessible for us, as well as might be beneficial or allowed at Shaw's, for example, wide open. We can do anything we want. So if some people, if it's not convenient to try to go on a Saturday or a Sunday, he said probably Mondays and Fridays are, in the late afternoon would be the busier days of the weekday. Once you get beyond 7 o'clock, it's very slow anyways, no matter what day it is. So you certainly wouldn't want to go, much beyond 5 to 7 or 4:30 to 7 or 6:30. But wide open anytime we want to go, we can go set up. So we talked about some people who might be easier for them to do it on a weekday. So that's wide open, and you can mark down on the list if you'd like to try to do that. With that, it's my pleasure to hand it over to Dennis Snyder, our meeting, and hear about all the good work he's been doing with medical missions. So, Dennis. If you need, if you don't have, that's my effort at a
Gotcha.
time.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. To say it's a pleasure to be here, I mean that more than ever. Believe me, and I speak for many others when I say that. Just to give some introduction, perhaps if some present tonight are not familiar with our charity, and our charity is Medical Missions for Children. We have been sending volunteer groups of surgeons, anesthesiologists, and nurses around the world for 22 years. And we concentrate on the care of children with congenital deformities, severe congenital deformities, particularly clefts of the lip and palate. We also have dental teams. We also have teams that take care of children with microtia, which is the absence of an ear, and we also take care of children with burn injuries. Right now we have over 20 missions per year to 10 different countries. These past few weeks we have been in China, and I want to start with that because China is one of the many sites we go to, Medical Missions for Children goes to, that the Scituate Rotary has been intimately related to. One of our members, Suzanne Cavanaugh, who could not be here this evening, who sends her regards to everybody, is instrumental, and I mean instrumental, in bringing this together. She and one of her closest friends who lives in Denshui, or Weizhong, China, which is about 2 hours north of Hong Kong. And many times I'm asked, and other members of our charity are asking, why would we go to China? This is a rich country. This is a wealthy country. This is a developing country beyond any other. And all good questions. Problem is that they cannot take care of these children. These children meaning children with severe deformities. The extent of the problem outstrips their capacity to care for them. And the children we care for there are orphans. They're all in orphanages. And I visited the orphanages myself in the past, and the staff of these orphanages, take beautiful care of the kids, but they will not be adopted with an unrepaired deformity such as this. There's another group of children we care for that are from Western China, which, as many know, is far more rural and very, very poor. And from there we went to the Philippines. And the Philippines is the country where Medical Missions for Children is the most involved. And Philippines is a country of 8,000 islands, half of which are inhabited, and most are very crowded. And so we go there twice in the fall and twice in the winter. And the day we got there, we had heard that there was a storm brewing. So we got everything up and going, and we're operating on these children. And then the next day we heard that this was a very big storm. So everybody that was there met and decided that we can get our work done in one less day safely. So we could get the kids home and we could get ourselves to Manila, at least to Manila, because Manila is about an hour and a half north of Tacloban. We were in Tacloban, and all the images you see on TV are from Tacloban. It's a city of about 225,000 people. So we were able to take care of all the children. There was a group of physicians and nurses from the United States and also from the Philippines. We were all working together, and we were able to leave. So we did not become part of this problem, which we would have been if we were there. Because the emphasis of all of this is safety. Safety for the children you care for first. And what that means is that we have to be confident that we can take care of these children just as well and just as completely as we can in any of the hospitals in Boston. That's our commitment, and that's a reality. And the second part is safety for the team members. So it's hard to miss what's happened since then. Everybody was either in Manila or on their way back to the United States. And to give you an idea of what this storm is like, I did not see it firsthand. I saw part of it, which was nothing like the middle of it. The gut part of the Philippines is a group of fairly small islands. The large island is Luzon, where Manila is, and Mindanao, where Davao City is. This was in the middle, where the islands are relatively small. So these storms, typhoons moving from east to west, they don't recognize these islands as land. They talk about landfall. This isn't a landfall for a storm of this magnitude. It mows it down. If that storm hit this building, it would be a pile of sticks and bricks all over this golf course. That's what this would be. And that's what happened. So we do not know about the kids. We just don't know that. And it may be a long time before we really know how the children we cared for are doing. It's just not known. And that may be months. It may not be till next November when we're there. We're going to be in the Philippines in a couple of months, but not to this part. And this can't deter what we are all involved with. When I say we, I mean the people in this room. Because this club is a living proof that a small group of people can make an almost immeasurable difference. And not just in the Philippines, but in China, where there are at least 2 million untreated cleft children. That's as many people that live in Greater Boston. 2 million. That's a conservative estimate. And then from there, going to the Philippines, and the many sites we go to otherwise, just to mention them: Tanzania, Rwanda, Ukraine, Peru, Guatemala, Ecuador, India, Vietnam, Honduras, and others. Our club has been intimately involved in at least half of those sites with donations, with equipment, which is invaluable for both us and the local people, the local professionals. Education is a big part of what we do. We make every effort to get the local physicians and nurses involved in the care of their children, of their patients. And be the first to admit that in some countries that works very well and some not as well. But it's an endless effort and it's ongoing. I am very happy to report that by the grace of God and the prayers of many, everybody got home safely from the Philippines. And all want to go back at their first possibility. And that will be soon. It just won't be to this part of the country because it's more of a mess than the TV shows. It's just a pile of rubble. Fortunately, there is some aid arriving now. There's some security, and so the Red Cross, Philippines Red Cross, and many other organizations are able to distribute food, blankets, water, which is what's needed. There are hospitals up and running, including the one we were at in Tacloban. It's in a rough shape, but it's in rough shape on the best of days, and it's even in worse shape now. The airport is up and running. That actually got going pretty quickly. So that's what we're doing, and it's not deterred or diminished in any way by a natural disaster. There will be others. There have been others before, and there will be others after, but this was of an almost unimaginable scale. I don't have any idea, because I'm speaking to people there almost every day. I have no idea how many people have been claimed by this storm, but the estimate is in the many thousands, it's at least 3,000, and it's probably many, many more than that, much more than that. The next trip we have is next week to Peru. I'm not going on that trip. That's to Cajamarca. It's a wonderful site. It's in the mountains. And then from there, in December, there's a trip to Honduras, and then January it all starts over again. To give a plug for our group here, I always mention that the fundraising we do internally, we raise all of our own money, and the clock starts over on January 1st. And I cannot begin to express my gratitude and the gratitude of all of the volunteers that go of how much our town has given to this effort, and this club has given to this effort. And it's ongoing, and I can promise you that as soon as there's a hospital that we can work in Tacloban, we'll be there again. And it'll probably be later next year or early 2015. Now, as far as getting a sense of this, there's so many pictures online, and let me just mention the website is www.mmfc.org. www.mmfc.org. There's photographs of the children, of their families, of before and after surgery. These operations take about an hour. Most kids need 2 operations. The first is preferably done before the first birthday, and the second between the age of 1 and 3 or 4. But there's a wide variation in how how you can operate and take care of these children. They can be taken care of if they're much older. So there's no age limit, really. On a general average week, we can care for between 50 and 100 kids, sometimes quite a bit more than that. Philippines is desperately poor. Each island you go to is poorer than the one you just left. Some you fly over at night, and all you see are fires. There's no electricity that you can find. Most are not that poor, but some are. So with that said, this is an effort that's going to be increasing. We have new sites in the coming year. I'd like to mention we're going to go to Uganda for the first time. We're going to Honduras for the first time, actually, in December, next month. And hopefully others. I won't be premature, but we're looking at other sites as well. And when I say that, all the older sites are ongoing. And if I can answer any questions, please. Anybody. Janet, please.
I just wanted to, you made a comment that these children with the cleft issues in China were not adoptable. But I think Suzanne told me that some of the children who had been repaired by you have now got home.
Yes. The first time we went there, the all but one had been adopted. Because I can tell you that myself, because I went to the orphanages, and I didn't have to bang on doors to do that. The folks there were very, very happy to take. I was not far from Hong Kong. I flew to Hong Kong. I got a visa. I went there and saw our friends, Suzanne's friends, my friends now, thanks to her. And it's sad, of course, to be in an orphanage, but they take marvelous care. The staff, marvelous care of the kids, and all but one had been adopted. So it was, and one of the children had been adopted by one of our sponsors, which is, someday that child's going to find out just what their life was like once, but that's a few years away. Very gratifying it is to see. They adopt, children are adopted by over 70 countries. 70. I was shocked to learn that. I did. Right.
Dennis,
Please.
What's the process to get, like, Uganda identified, and what do you need for feet on the street over there to get this okay over there?
There's 3 pieces to every one of these efforts that you have to have. It's the starting point. You have to have. You have to be needed. You have to be wanted, And there has to be somebody on site that's completely committed. And a very, very close friend of Suzanne's, Julia Young, who many of us have met, is that person in China, I might add. She could be an entire football team. I mean, it's just scary. She can get it all done, but that's what you have to have. And in Uganda, where I've never been, by the way, but this is going to be this coming year, this hopefully in the fall, there's somebody on site that we've identified that seems that committed. Now, you have to go there and...
Is there a local Rotary Club out there?
Local Rotary clubs have helped us in one site in the Philippines and elsewhere. But it has to be something that's taking this on as if they have a new child. I don't know how else to say it. Maybe even a sick child. That they're going to take this and run with it. And sometimes you'll go and visit a place and it's just not that level of commitment. It's not going to work. And it might work again some other year, 2 years, 5 years, many years later, but it won't work then. They have to be that committed. And I'm very confident it will work there. It's a very underserved country. We go to Rwanda, which is a border nation. It's immediately to the south, so that does help. You can kill two birds with one stone.
Right.
Please.
What is the follow-up care like, and how is that managed?
Very good question, because that's essential. We have to have someone on site, a physician on site, that is committed to see the kids. And so you do get, I mean, thank God for email. Where were we without it? We can get photographs and information electronically, so we get that through the year. And I will admit again, some places it's better than others. You may not find out much, but there is somebody seeing them, and you will find out, seeing the children, and you'll find out about them the next time you're there. But there's always follow-up.
How many trips do you go on?
Each year, 6, 7, 8, something like that.
So, almost once every 6 weeks?
About once every 6 weeks.
That's new, in the past, you came into all of them, right?
Well, now we have more of them, which is great. So, no, it's great to have more and more volunteers. You want to spread your volunteer base. And just to mention that everybody is a volunteer. All the professionals and the nurses. Let me particularly mention that many of the nurses have 3 or 4 weeks vacation a year, and we commandeer basically all of them. They can't wait to go. We could call people before I'm watching the clock, I promise. We can call people before it hits 8 o'clock, and we can get 6 people to go by Christmas, including to the Philippines.
Yeah, I know the answer to this. Also, how many people do you have?
Somewhere between 25 and 30,000 children. And there's a dental team on top of that that's double that, probably 50,000 on top of that. But for the cleft children, 20 to 30,000. Yes, Bernie.
In the past you mentioned fundraising.
Yes.
Is that done here? Is that done locally?
What we do is, it's very, I think there's a term that's used far too often, but it is very grassroots. We have large charities that give to us, large family foundations, companies, but the majority, 90%, come from individuals who want to donate. Individuals, including the people in this room that do all the time, want to donate. And that makes all the difference. The team members, everybody pays into a fund that covers their expenses. So not only are people volunteering, they're raising between $750 and $1,500 per year to go. That's a requirement for everybody to go, everyone, if you want to go. So we take it on there. We have fundraisers. We have one in Boston in the spring. We have one at Marshfield Country Club every June. We have one in New York City in the fall, and we have scattered events elsewhere in the country. And we have constant mailing and solicitations that everybody could paper the walls with.
Incredible stuff.
So, again, my greetings and thanks come from all of our group. I say our group, there's about 350 to 400 volunteers in Medical Missions for Children. Again, www.mmfc.org. Thank you. Again. Medical Missions for Children. Medical Missions for Children.
And I just want to ask, I think you answered this last time, but when you do a cleft palate operation, you said it takes Not as long as you think, but it's two-step, so.
Right, to take care of a child with and everybody I know, and if many, by the way, the ads you see in the newspapers, some of those kids we've cared for. You can recognize them. I'm not joking. You can identify where they're from. The cleft lip repair takes 1 hour, and the cleft palate repair takes an hour. And the operations are generally not done at the same time. They're generally done at some period of time apart, ideally about a year. But there's a lot of variability. And just as a final message to just how desperate this problem is, this deformity, we will see adults everywhere we go with a cleft lip. Someone who's my age, in their 50s, 20s, 30s, 40s, even older. And you can imagine living like that. And we take care of them. So even though we take care of children, there are some adults that we care for. Of course we're going to take care of them. And many times they're dropped off by their family. And the family comes back to pick them up, and they have no idea who they are. They walk. I can give you an example. Just last year, this brother walked right past him. He had no idea who he was. He didn't. He just had no idea who he was. The person doesn't know who they are. So
Do you have a plastic surgeon on your team?
that's what I do. That's what I do. So we do facial reconstructive surgery, right?
And is language a barrier, or do you have local volunteers?
Well, we always want to have local volunteers that, particularly with the more difficult languages like Chinese. You can, yes. So be it Swahili, be it Ukrainian, be it Spanish. We have Spanish-speaking team members, but Hindi and Vietnamese, whatnot. Yes, you have to have translators. So all that's put together in advance.
It's always half full glass or half empty, right? How you look at it. There's 30,000 kids. You give each of them, you give them a life. Right. That's not living. Right.
No. The eating, because when you have a cleft palate, you can't eat. So these children are either not eating or.
You can't show yourself.
No, the extent that both the family and both the child and their family are ostracized. They keep these kids, many of them, just hidden because everybody knows what the problem is, and it's thought that there's basically a curse on the family. That happens. That actually is universal. And when they get older, they walk around with their face covered, which of course most of the places we go to are boiling hot most of the year. So you're walking around with your face wrapped in wool your whole life. And no one in the world should have to live like that. That's our commitment. Nobody should have to live like that. It's cheers for you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dennis, thank you. Thank you for your continued good work. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We'll see you at Cardinal Cushing in a couple weeks.